Hey, it's Jordan Fisher, and this is Spilling the Tea with iHeartRadio Broadway.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.
What is my ultimate favorite Broadway show? All time, Once on This Island. Written by Ahrens and Flaherty. They also did Ragtime and Anastasia and Seussical, but Once on This Island has forever been my favorite musical. First Broadway show I ever saw in person was Newsies. The first Broadway show I ever saw, thank goodness for bootlegs and on VHS in the early aughts. The first Broadway show that I ever saw, ever, was Rent. Ever. And that was still definitive for me. It's such an iconic piece of theater, I think especially for millennials in musical theater. It was our anthem. What is a Broadway show that's out currently that I'm dying to see that I have not yet seen? There are a handful. I must see Audra and Gypsy. I still haven't been. But I'm going to get there. Joy, Danny, so many great people. So many good people. It's really awesome having that show back in the city right now. My favorite moment to perform in Urinetown is definitely Run Freedom Run. I think that song in general is one that's important to a lot of us theater kids growing up, and getting to do that the way that I've kind of always imagined doing it, and really going to church with it is a blast. It's freedom. What is the most wild experience I've had with a full bladder on stage? A few, because I have the bladder of a squirrel. But Hadestown specifically is one that comes to mind because there's a long period. There's like a 15-minute period where Orpheus is just sitting on a stool and writing in his journal, and I hydrated very well that day and had to get up and leave and do the thing. And it wasn't even necessarily wild, but I did leave the stage to pee and came back on as if nothing happened. I don't think anyone noticed. One of my favorite memories from playing Orpheus was, has still kind of, I don't think that there's been a track ever really that has given an actor an opportunity to be a musician and play with some of the most world-renowned jazz musicians and tell a story and sing some of the most beautiful material, and it move me as the person in the clothes on stage playing that track. Like there's just something really so special about that connective tissue between storytelling and being able to set the tone with the guitar and the tempo and the pace and let it be whatever it feels like it needs to be that day, I think is something that's really special. And also kind of something that's like really excites me about the idea of Urinetown, and hopefully the idea of Urinetown making a transfer and running for a while is like finding things that feel different than they did the night before. Like there's certain lines, there's certain bits of dialogue and music and whatnot that just will inevitably hit differently based on where we are and what we're doing and whatever the headlines are that day. And that to me is like the magic of theater, is being able to discover new things with it every night. And that goes for the actors on stage and for audience members as well that maybe come back and come back and come back and come back. So the question is, what's it like to hear your voice on Happily Ever After during the fireworks at Magic Kingdom in Disney World? It is the coolest thing still, and for probably ever, that I have ever done. I'm a Disney adult. Have you seen my Magic Do you see this right here? You see that? You see that? We got married there, and It is, I cry every time. I think that the idea that I get to even sonically be a part of people's memories. Like people go to the parks for the first time ever and are with their family, or maybe there's reunions that happen. There's, you know, I've heard stories about like grandparents waiting for the end of a day at a park to tell their family that they're in remission, and people get engaged, and like I'm getting emotional about it right now. It's so cool to me that I get to do that, and I'm not even there. I'm sorry.
No, literally look at me.
Yeah, it's the most special thing that I've ever done, and it's why I love it so much. And it's so cool. I can have the worst day. I'm a mess. I could be having a crazy day. You know, it's a lot. I got a toddler. I run a production company. I'm doing shows in the city every night, and like people and life and the chaos of our day to day. And I can have the worst day. And then someone will tag me in a video on Instagram of them at Magic Kingdom with the fireworks happening in the background, and like my voice being there and being a part of like what is a really good healing moment. That's what it feels like to hear my voice on Happily Ever After. I hope it never goes away. If I could go to Disney World with Evan Hansen, Anthony from Sweeney Todd, John Lawrence, or Philip Hamilton, who would you go with? I feel like everyone would annoy the crap out of me except for John Lawrence. He's down for a good time. We know that. He would be the one. Yeah, it'd be me and JL. We'd be on our way. What am I reading right now? I finished book 1 of Zodiac Academy last night, and I'm like 30 pages away from finishing the Angel's Blood, which is the first book of the Guild Hunter series, if anybody's heard of it. Nalini Saling, I think is the author's name. It's an 18-book fantasy epic, but it's like mass market. What did I finish recently? I just finished Onyx Storm. I just reread Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón because it's the greatest piece of literature I think I've read in the last decade. What else? Oh, I'm also reading For Ruined Realms right now, which is I don't think it's out just yet. If it's not out right now, it's gonna be out in like a day or two. It's like right around the corner. But it's book 2 of Mike Corlin's Five Broken Blades series, which is so good. Yeah, I don't know. Follow me on Goodreads, because Goodreads keeps up with my reading better than I can, obviously. I have a habit of reading like 3 or 4 books at the same time. So I read books like I watch TV shows, basically. So if you want to keep up, which I hope that you do, please follow me on Goodreads. Also, shouts out to the readers in New York City. I'm seeing more and more and more physical books opened up on the subway every single day. And as a nerd and as a lover of books and the joy of reading books and knowing what that can do for you and how that can like help you escape, keep going. Like we are literally keeping Barnes & Noble in business. All right, they're opening 50, 60 new locations. This is not an ad. I do not work for any publishing company or any book distribution company. However, I am a lover of books and love to talk about them, obviously. So feel free to hit me up with any questions.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz.